Hello everyone, this is Tim Dodd. Welcome to the Believer's Faith Challenge podcast.
Faithful to give witness to tens of thousands, yes, and to the millions that believe it. And believes it, and I believe that God's going to let me live to pack it until all around the world it's been circulated.
Hello everyone and welcome to the podcast today. This is the Believer's Faith Challenge podcast, where we report on the works of God all over the world as relates to the end time word.
When I first show that feature to people for the first time, they're always, I get the wide-eyed look, wow, that's really neat, that's really cool, that's really powerful.
Greetings, friends, and welcome to the Believer's Faith Challenge podcast. Today we have Brother Andrew Schuler on, and Brother Andrew has been working very diligently on an application that I'm really excited to hear about because it is providing new tools, new ways to search the message, and all kinds of features. And this is going to be a great benefit for a lot of people, and we really want to give him the time to explain to us all about it. And Brother Tim, I know you've been looking forward to the release of this application for quite some time also.
Greetings, Brother Mark, and greetings once again to all of our listeners. Yes, this is an application that we very much have been anticipating. It's been a number of years in the works, and Brother Andrew Schuler has worked diligently on this, and we are happy to have the release finally of the Open Message View app version 1.0. I think this app is going to be a tremendous benefit around the world, as many especially minister brothers, but many brothers and sisters have Windows-based computers around the world. And so for them to get an app available in 34 languages is just a tremendous opportunity and will be a blessing to many people. Without any further delay, let's bring in Brother Andrew and welcome him to the Believer's Faith Challenge podcast. Welcome, Brother Andrew.
Well, thank you, Brother Tim and Brother Mark, for having me on the podcast today. I want to say that, thank you, Brother Tim, for all the work and the vision that you've had to put together things like this podcast to keep the believers informed and inspired to what God's doing around the world, and the support throughout the years of overseas mission, and especially the work that you've done on the Message Hub. It's been a real blessing to everybody that I've introduced it to, and we get a lot of good feedback, and I think it's really just the Lord using you and everyone there to really bless His bride and spread the message. So thank you for that, and thank you for the opportunity to speak to you today.
It's good to have you with us, Brother Andrew. Before we get into what the new app will do, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself, your background, what is it that you do, and your involvement around the message in Brother Baker's church there in Tucson, Arizona.
Yeah, Brother Tim, I've been in the ministry for about 22 years. But I've also been working in the IT industry for 22, 23 years as well, which kind of uniquely suits me for this type of project. Currently, I teach part-time, so I teach computer classes at a local community college, and I also am an associate minister at Love Divine Fellowship. Brother Doug Baker is our pastor there. And I'm involved in various parts of the ministry there, Sunday school, youth ministry. Obviously, I assist Brother Baker, and then also recently trying to get involved in some missions work. But our vision really is to do whatever we can, put our shoulder behind, whatever work we can to get the message out to the world.
That's our vision too. And, we've had the iOS and the Android version of Message Hub Mobile, as we call it. And we've had those for some time. And I know you've been working diligently on the Windows version, and really I think that the Windows version has the most potential because of some of the options inside of Windows that are available that may not be available in Android. Why don't you just explain for the people what the Windows version does and how they can use it?
Yeah, for years we've had folio views, which is available from Voice of God recordings. It's the table that we're familiar with. It's sort of the core application of the table, the Windows-based application. And we've had that, like I said, for years, and it's been a really powerful tool. There's limitations to it. It's an older piece of software. And of course, there's nothing like that utilizes the translations that are available in the Message Hub. So that was really the vision for this project and the application, is to at first mimic the functionality that we get from the Folio Views application, the Windows table application, but utilize all the various translations that are available on the Message Hub, all the work that the translators and everyone has been doing to provide the message in so many different languages, to make that functionality available to be able to search and do all those things that you can do with Folio Views with all of that functionality, all those languages. So that was the initial vision. And then expanding beyond that, since Folio Views is not really being developed anymore, they're not adding new features, and it's just an older application. I really wanted to build a new piece of software that would work on modern computers and would something that we can add new features to. So we've got a lot of new features planned for it, and we really want to bring that ability to dig deep into the message and really search, do powerful text searching, and really study the message on a PC, a desktop, or a laptop computer, and do that with all the languages that are supplied in the Message Hub.
At this point in time, I think the people will find the experience in the Windows app very similar to the iOS or the Android app. But I know that you've got some further enhancements coming to the app. I wonder if you can share any of that with us and when that might be available in your mind.
So this initial release was really just a sort of a baseline to get the software out there, get people using it. And we really only released one language in terms of the user help files and the menus and the buttons and the interface of the application. And that was in Spanish. We released it in English and Spanish. Although the application can search and use all the languages that are in the Message Hub, we don't have, all the menus and everything translated in all those different languages yet. So the first enhancement that we want to do is we want to start adding all those languages. And I'm excited that almost immediately when we released 1.0, we had someone come forward, brother come forward from Romania, who said, "Hey, we're using it. It's great, and I want to help do translation for you in Romanian." So we're hoping that that's what's going to happen as word spreads and as the application gets out there. We'll have more people come forward to help out with that, and that's translating things like the user help files, user documentation. And then, like I mentioned, all the menus and buttons and every little bit of text that's in the application has to be translated. So we'd like to really expand that out as a start for sure, so that we can get as many languages supported completely in the application as possible. And then we'd like to build on some of the other functionality that Folio Views has, and that's just expand the search capabilities. The underlying search engine that we use is extremely powerful, And so we just need to build that functionality into the application. Things like proximity searching, where you're searching for a word that's next to another word or so many words away. And there's just a lot of complex searches that can be done by users that, we would consider maybe a power user, somebody who's really interested in digging down deep into the text of the message and has used that functionality perhaps in folio view. So that would be the next enhancement would be something like that. And then also I'd like to add things like highlighting and subject tagging so that you could group quotes out of the message together based on subjects. You might be able to create a subject called baptism or something like that. And then as you search and read through the message, you find a place where Brother Branham talks about baptism. You could just tag it with the baptism tag. And then you would be able to group all those statements together and use that to build sermons or build your own studies. And really, beyond that, it's almost like the sky's the limit. It's really about getting feedback from people and finding out what's important to them. Minister brothers, are going to have priorities on things that they'd like to see, and maybe other people will think of things that I wouldn't necessarily think of or think are important to them. So another one I'd like to add is highlighting, to be able to go in and create highlights, different colors and that sort of thing. And then, anything that you can imagine in a normal Bible study type software. We could add even more cross-reference links. So we could add the ability for users to create their own cross-references. So there's a lot of things that we could do. But the immediate thing right now is to try and get it out there and get it out in as many languages as we can. So you asked when it would be available, and that's really the tough question because some of the translation depends on people coming forward and helping out. But we're definitely going to try and get another release done by the end of the year. At minimum, we'll get that Romanian language out, hopefully. If we can get some help with that and fixing any bugs and maybe adding a couple new features.
You mentioned, Brother Andrew, that this is powered by the Message Hub. I'm not sure if people understand what that means, but the Message Hub links the Bible and the message together so that if you click on a link in the Bible, it will take you to where Brother Branham talked about that scripture, or vice versa. Links in the message take you to where the Bible scriptures are. And that's a unique feature to all of the Message Hub apps.
Yeah, that's right, Brother Tim, and that's a very powerful feature. And in fact, when I first show that feature to people for the first time, they're always, I get the wide-eyed look, wow, that's really neat, that's really cool, that's really powerful. I had a pastor brother tell me, I'm mentoring a new, a young minister. He's just starting out in the ministry, and that's going to be a great feature for him to be able to, when you're looking at a Bible verse, you can immediately pull up quotes that are related to that Bible verse, and vice versa. So that's an extremely powerful feature. That's in the, like you said, in all the Message Hub apps, and we certainly include that in Open Message View. And one of the things that I would like to do in the future is give users the ability to create their own. So while we'll have all of those built-in cross-references that come from the Message Hub database, perhaps you've found quotes where Brother Branham is speaking about the content of a particular Bible verse, but maybe he doesn't mention it directly, and so it's not linked in the Message Hub. But you want to make that link for yourself. And so I think that would be a really neat feature to add. And it's one of those things that I'd like to do in the future.
Brother Andrew, I have a question. I am an iOS user. I use Apple products, and I use the Message Hub mobile app and also the Table app for searching and those kinds of things. But I do have a Windows computer around that I occasionally use for other things, and I'm just wondering, what would the Open Message app provide to me that I wouldn't be able to get on these other applications that I use?
Brother Mark, that's a great question. And it really comes down to the differences in the platforms themselves. I always like to think, when I talk to people about, well, what's the difference between, mobile apps or mobile devices and PCs, desktops and laptops? And a lot of times it comes down to, the form factor or the size. The size of the screen is a big part of it. But also the familiarity with different applications. So, on Windows, you're going to have other applications. You're going to have word processors. You might have Microsoft Word or Office applications, things like that. If you're a minister, you most likely have sermon notes, and you're going to be typing up sermon notes on some sort of, word processor or something similar. And so you get that desktop experience. A desktop computer or a laptop is more geared towards content creation, whereas a mobile device is more geared towards content consumption. So reading, certainly you have the benefit of, a phone. It's always in your pocket, so you can just grab it really quickly. You might look something up, but you may not want to spend, many hours in front of it without a big screen and a keyboard and a mouse to be able to navigate and to study and to copy and paste and build a sermon like we would if you're a minister. I personally prefer to do that on a PC with a big screen and a keyboard. The other thing that the screen allows us to do, or the screen size, we take advantage of that with Open Message View, in that you can move different windows around. So in our church here in Tucson, we have a lot of bilingual Spanish speakers, and one of the features that they enjoy a lot is to be able to put a Spanish message and a English message side by side. So you can put those windows right next to each other, and you can compare them in side by side and see the translation right next to each other. And so that's something that you get in a desktop environment. You get a lot more screen real estate to be able to move those things around. So the way that Open Message View is designed, it's designed with sort of a window tiling system. So you can kind of create your own interface. So you can put, the Bible in one panel right next to a message, right next to a message in another language. However you want to arrange those windows, you can do that. And just, you're only limited kind of by your screen size and your imagination to arrange them. The other thing that we've added in Open Message View that I don't think are in the mobile applications yet, they might be at future time, but I don't think they are yet, is for the English Bible, we've added the lexicons, the Greek and Hebrew lexicons. So those are important study aids for ministers. We only have them in English right now, but my hope is at some point that we'll be able to find them for some of the other Bible translations as well.
Well, thank you, Brother Andrew. It's been good to have you with us today. Maybe you can just share with our listeners, how would they get this app? Where do they go to? It's free of charge, of course, but maybe they want to support it. They can certainly do that through Bible Believers. Or how might they support the app directly?
Yes, Open Message View is free of charge, and Lord willing, always will be. We certainly believe freely you've received, freely give. So we provide that free of charge. You can go download it from our website, www.lovedivine.fellowship.com/software. And that is our church website, and that will take you to the Open Message View website. That's www.lovedivinefellowship.com/software. And if you would like to submit a question or a request, I'd certainly appreciate any feedback, feature requests. Hey, I really like this, but it would be really neat if you could do X, Y, Z. You can email me at software@lovedivinefellowship.com. So it's software@lovedivinefellowship.com. And feel free to download it there. As far as supporting the application, we don't have any kind of PayPal or anything like that set up on our website yet, but we are hoping to get that in the future. So if you see that on the Love Divine Fellowship website and you want to donate that way, sometime in the future when we get that up, that'd be great. But most of all, we appreciate your prayers and your love and support, and of course feedback. It's to be a service to God's bride worldwide, and really hoping and praying that it will be a blessing and help our brothers and sisters to spread the word and to grow in grace, and to really to really dig into the message of the hour. We've been so privileged to have it in our own language, and to be able to dig into it and search it out, and to see what the prophet said. That it's really my heart's desire that everyone would have that opportunity, and that these things would be readily available, easy to access. And that's why one of the reasons I titled the software the Open Message View. The open part is to signify that it's out there, it's available. Anybody can get it. It's accessible by anybody. And so that's our vision, and that's really our prayer. So thank you for having me on the podcast today. I really appreciate the opportunity, and like I said, I really appreciate the work that you've all done, spreading the message around the world. God bless you.
Well, Brother Tim, to me, this has been a fascinating interview with Brother Andrew, and this is really something new, and people are going to have to take some time and absorb everything that it can do for them with this application. And I just appreciate, the different gifts that are out there. What Brother Andrew has done with this application, it's nothing that I could even imagine approaching. I do other things, but when different believers are able to get in and see a need and take what skills God has given them and address it, that is really thrilling, because we can accomplish a whole lot more together than we ever could separately.
Amen, Brother Mark. That's exactly right. The body of Jesus Christ is such a bountifully gifted body in so many different respects, and this might be a good opportunity to share some of the genesis of how this all happened. It was back in 2012 or 13 that Brother Biscoe had a vision to make an app for the Bible, connecting it to the message for the Chinese people. And that's really where this all came from. And I convened a meeting of many brothers in the church here, and especially those that are gifted in programming, and such as Brother Darren Hoffman, who became the central figure of all of this and created the mobile app in Android. And we had a meeting to discuss how to make this Bible app, as it was called at that time. It was at that meeting that Brother Hoffman said to me, if we can do this in Chinese, we can probably make it so that it'll work in just about any language. And kind of a light bulb went on for me at that time, and it was decided right away that if we're going to pursue this, we're going to pursue this for every possible language and program it so that we can include, if not all, almost all the languages that are on the Message Hub. So from that time, the vision that Brother Biscoe had of the Chinese Bible app, as he called it, or the Bible app, grew into the Message Hub mobile app for Android. Then it expanded into iOS, and now that we have the expansion into a Windows-based program, we're just thrilled with all of this and how God is doing this. Brother Schuler down in Tucson has been a real blessing, and we're just so glad that he has seen the vision the same way that we do, and getting the message out to the people, putting it in the hands of the people, allowing the people to study it, allowing them to have it in their own language. And so we certainly are encouraging Brother Schuler in every way that we can, and pray that God will just continue to use him mightily as he expands the program on the Windows platform. You know, the Bible records in Ephesians 4 that God sent the fivefold ministry into the church for various purposes, but it culminates with this statement in verse 16. It says, "From whom the whole body fitly joined together and compacted by that which every joint supplieth, according to the effectual working in the measure of every part, making increase of the body unto the edifying of itself in love." To me, these brothers and all the various ones that contribute and support and pray and all of these things, this is what this scripture is talking about. This is a body that is working together for its own edification. This is not just a Bible believers ministry. This is a body ministry that is ministering to the body of Jesus Christ. Bible Believers has sponsored this from the beginning, and we will continue to sponsor it. We sponsor the Message Hub website, where people can download translations of the message in over 80 languages, and that's utilized extensively around the world, and we're thankful for that. So I hope that our listeners have been blessed. I know I've been blessed talking with Brother Andrew, and it certainly is wonderful to be associated with real Christians like that desire to serve God with all their heart. So God bless you each and every one. Thank you for your time listening to this Bible Believers Faith Challenge podcast. Thank you for joining us on the podcast today. Remember, friends, the bridegroom will not come until the bride has made herself ready. She must be both called and fully dressed by the Word of God.
This is the Believers Faith Challenge Report podcast. You can sign up for our email newsletter at BibleWay.org. Scroll to the bottom of the page where it says Newsletter. Fill in your name and email address and click Sign Up. In this email report, you will receive reports of the works of God in China, in Africa, in South America, in India, Europe, all over the world. We also publish a full-color paper newsletter 2 times a year, complete with photographs, reports, and testimonies from all over the world. The newsletter is free. Just request it, and we would be happy to mail a copy to you. You can contact us by email at info@bible-believers.org. That's info@bible-believers.org. Or you can write to us at Bible Believers, P.O. Box 128, Blaine, Washington, 98231. That's Bible Believers, P.O. Box 128, Blaine, Washington, 98231. This is Mark Aho. Thank you for being with us today, and be sure to join us for the next Believers Faith Challenge Report podcast.